Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you already know that this is my mini-series in which I am doing a deep dive into a very particular and amazing deck called the Tarot of the Holy Light by Christine Payne-Towler. And it is a tarot that is different from the tarots that I grew up on, the Golden Dawn based decks, the Rider-Waite-Smith, otherwise known as the Smith-Waite deck, or the Thoth deck, otherwise known as the Harris-Crowley deck. Yeah, those are the kinds of things that I grew up with, and this deck is very different. This deck is based on what the creator calls the Continental Tarot system, which is a little bit more similar to the Tarot de Marseille, or at least the Tarot de Marseille as it is revealed through the esoterica of the Continental Tarotists. For example, Etea is one of the very well-known writers. Also, there are many. Okay, so let's not go into that. But that's what I'm doing. Every day, I draw one card from the Tarot of the Holy Light, and I sit with it. I look at it. And I usually need to disentangle the meanings, the ideas that I have formed about that card through my study and work with the other Golden Dawn style decks. So I try to disentangle it and acknowledge those meanings that I have floating around in the back of my mind, because if I don't acknowledge them, I can't disassociate with them. So I acknowledge them, and then I try to really confront the image that is on the card. Front of the card, back of the card. You got that already, right? So I confront the image as it is on the card, and I sit with it, and then I use a very trusted, my handy-dandy Lightseers Tarot, a RWS-based deck, to help me unpack the card that is seated, that is lying before me. So I do a 3-card spread. Yeah? The first card is the significance of the daily draw card. The second is the obstacle. The third is the advice. Yeah, typical 3-card spread. And so I live with that reading for the day. And at the end of the day, I pull out my trusted companion book to the Tarot of the Holy Light by Christine Payne-Towler, and I look at the meanings as intended by the creator, and then I reflect on those meanings and how they revealed themselves, how they manifested or not in my day. So that's what I do, and that's what I'm doing today. And so the card that I pulled for today was, now remember, this is very interesting. I got the 9 of Wands reversed. Then I got the 10 of Wands. No, I got the 9 of Wands reversed was a different day. I got the 9 of Wands upright. Then I got the 10 of Wands upright. Now I got the Page of Wands. This is a very wandsy series of days, right? And in a kind of progression. So because I've worked with this deck for a little while now, the first things that came to my mind about this card were, 1, the pages are the seasons. Well, I don't know if you can see, the lighting in here is not great, but this is the season of spring in this deck. Now, the Wands is the season of spring. So the spring is also the fire elements, the fire zodiac signs of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, right? So we've got those all wound up together in this card, but we also want to remember that the pages in this deck are the servants of the Queen. And we've seen the Queen of Wands already a couple of times. Yeah? The Queen of Wands is the one who gets things done, who gets the people under her to follow her lead. She works and she expects the people around her to work as much as she does. She gets things done. She can be a little bit brutal, but she gets things done. So that's the first thing that came to mind with this card, is that he's the servant, he's the messenger, he's the representative of the woman who gets things done. And so he's got to, if he's going to follow her, he's got to live up to her standards as well. So to me, the first things in my mind was, he's the one who's got to get things done. And we can see all this fire. We got a sun and the moon at the bottom, sun and the moon at the top. Yeah? The fire of the sun reflected in the moon. Now we've got a little kind of a I don't know, kind of a sexy little page there, right? With the moon on his forehead, reminding me a little bit of the High Priestess in Rider-Waite-Smith deck, but I'm sure that's not what that is supposed to be. But still, that thought burst into my mind, especially with this purple wrap around it. Made me think High Priestess, but no. So Page of Wands. So I sat with that and I thought those thoughts. I didn't think so much my Rider-Waite-Smith Page of Wands thoughts here, especially because this guy looks a lot older than Pamela Coleman Smith drew the Page of Wands. That's one thing. And so I pulled my 3 cards from my Lightseers Tarot. And let me show you those cards right now. So it was interesting. The 3 cards that I got, unpacking my daily draw, were the 6 of Swords, interesting card, and then the Ace of Swords, and then the Knight of Cups, which is interesting because I've been getting the Page of Cups fairly often during this mini-series, and having a Knight of Cups show up was a nice progression, advancement, something like that. So what did I read out of this? So the first is those ideas of the page being the servant of the queen, getting things done. So the 6 of Swords actually made a lot of sense to me. I'm about to leave again. I'm leaving my home in Walnut Creek and going back to my home in Korea. So this travel idea made sense. So the Page of Swords was expressing itself in my travel, the preparations for and doing of the travel that is going to be coming up. That makes sense. And now moving on, there's been a completion of a cycle. And if you've been following me, you probably know what that cycle has been of a vacation that was stopped early because of illness and then taking care of that illness. And there's a whole cycle that has come to a conclusion and now it's time to move on. There's also that meaning in this, right? That makes sense? Yeah. Move on. Leave the baggage bullet. Now this is interesting and important, I think. Leave a lot of the baggage behind, but take the things that are still useful with you. Those are the things that I was thinking of. And then what is standing in my way, what could be standing in my way, is the Ace of Swords. Now, Aces of Swords are usually wonderful little cards because they're the new ideas, the new thoughts, the new vision. So in Obstacle, it could be one of two, well, it could be many things, but 2 things that come to mind are, one, in reverse, it would be the lack of a new idea, a lack of insight, a lack of a new vision. It's possible. Or as an obstacle, it could be that the new idea could block the progression of an old idea that really could be developed further, or could be carried through further, or could be nurtured more, rather than jumping to the new idea. So those are some ways of reading the Ace of Swords in the reverse, in the shadow aspect. So those are possibilities. I want to move on. I will be moving on, but there could be new ideas that are distracting me, or I am resisting the new idea. And so the advice was, be the Knight of Cups. Yeah, be the romantic, be the emotional connector one, be the one who goes out and opens their heart and opens their inspiration and opens their connection to the deep, poetic, beautiful self that we all are, and shares that with those around them. Perfect solution to blockage of thought, right? Blockage of thought, blockage of new ideas, one way or the other. Just open up the heart and share. Could solve a lot of problems, right? So I lived my day, and then I came back to the book. And let me read some things out of the book. Not the whole thing, but some things out of the book. So what do we have here? The page. He announces the spring equinox, when the turbulence of clashing weather systems begin to give way to warm soils and eager sprouts. Yeah, makes sense. Beginning of spring, calming weather, the seeds that have been germinating begin to sprout. Let's see. At his suggestion, buds swell and branches sport fresh color, helping us remember our hopes for the future again, despite all our setbacks and sorrows. So it's moving on, realizing the beauty that is possible, the new life that is possible. The pages make themselves visible as at important times, announcing changes of scene, time, or overall focus. Important for what I'm going through right now, right? What I'm living, not going, I'm going through right now. My life as it is progressing right now. He's never one to copy from others. Instead, being bohemian and independent by nature, requiring little in the way of outside affirmation or approval. Yeah, so he's bohemian. He doesn't need the support or the pats on the back from those around. He doesn't even need the understanding of those around him. He's going to go off and do what he's going to do. He is a nonconformist or sometimes perceived as antisocial, yeah, by others around him. When it's not really being antisocial, it's just that he's doing his own thing and other people don't get it, and so they feel turned off or feel rejected or feel ignored. And so that's why he could be perceived as antisocial. Let's see, where am I? Yes, his specialty is finding simple solutions to complex problems, something that would be very good for me, especially now. Nonetheless, this page's life is lived through an ethos of self-ownership and self-empowerment, and it is under these terms that he undertakes his service for the queen. So he's a servant, he is a page, he's not the king or queen, he's not a high royal, but he is self-empowered. He is, he owns his own self, he owns himself, he has ownership, he has a sense of self-worth, right? Freedom is such an important value in his universe that he would rather do with less voluntarily than be trapped by the seductive wiles of luxury or wealth. So let me tell you what's happening for me today. This is all very interesting because a lot of it this day played out just like that. And it's part of this moving on. I'm not so sure about the Ace of Swords being the shadow, but the Knight of Cups and the Six of Swords make absolute sense. So what happened today? So today my mother's helper, my mother's assistant, wanted me to go through stuff in the house. I only had one day here, but she wanted me to go through boxes of stuff. So what was I doing? The greater part of the day was going through boxes and sorting out a lot of stuff to get rid of, either to donate or to sell or to recycle or to throw away. Yeah, the lion's share of the stuff that I was looking at was going in that direction. There were some things that I kept back, and I'll show you a couple of them in just a little bit. But I saved the photos, but the memorabilia, the old stuff that I haven't seen in 20 years and haven't really missed for 20 years, all of that stuff is going to hopefully other people who could use them or to the trash if they're not able to be used anymore. That goes for everything from like train sets to books to things collected on travels that I haven't seen in 20 years, all that kind of stuff, clothes, old clothes. So paring down was the name of the game for most of the day for me today. A lot of remembering stuff and some moments of, God, I love this thing, but you know, I haven't needed it for 20 years, so we can let it go. There are some things that I kept that I probably don't really need, but are just, some nostalgia is good, I think. Like I have some figurines from when I was in 4th grade in Japan, and I've got a set of all of the Uttara family. Now, all 9 figures of the Uttara family, and they're like this big and they're plastic, but I love them, and so I'm keeping them. Those I'm going to keep. Some stuff like that I'm going to keep, just some little things. There are a couple of dolls over there on the shelf. I don't know if you can see them. One is a little elephant and one is a red and white striped kind of sock clown figure. So I'm keeping a few things on the photos, but I'm letting 90% of the stuff go in one way or the other. So like, yeah, that paring down, I mentioned. I also had to figure out how to do this COVID testing thing to get into Korea. Yeah? It had made no sense to me until last night. And then I contacted one of my coworkers. My coworker sent me something that actually was cogent, that I could really understand. You do this, you do this, you do this. So that I figured out I had to do this. One of the things was I could take a rapid antigen test here in the United States, which is good because I don't have that much time. And this one needs to be done within 24 hours of departure. But a lot of the places in the United States are not giving you results for like 2 days, 3 days, at least in where I live in California. And they're asking for a lot of money to do even that. And there's a PCR test and all of that. And trying to find a place that would do it and do it quickly and for at less than $600 was a real challenge to me. And I know a lot of you will probably say, well, you should do this, you should do that, you should do the other. The places, I checked a lot of places and a lot of them had just given up doing the RAT, the rapid antigen test. And we're all going into the PCR test and charging money for that. And so I finally found a place. So I went in, I made an appointment. There was a place I could have done it for free, but I would have had to have made my appointment the night before I arrived here so that I could go today to get there's a whole slew of things. So I got it. I got my appointment, a drive-through test. I went through, I drove through. Let me tell you, I don't like tests. Any kind of test, anything where I don't have any control of the outcome, I don't like it. And so it could be a test in school where I'm uneasy because I'm not the one who grades the outcome, or a health test where I have to give some fluids and somebody else rates those fluids and I have no control over that process. Those things make me very uneasy. And so this day was very uneasy for me. And I got my test and I waited and I waited and I waited and there was no response and there was no response. It was supposed to be 1 hour. 3 hours later, no, 2 hours, 2 hours later, no, 3 hours later, yes, 3 hours later, I still had no response. And so I finally called. I finally called the center, which is not where I am, but it's a national center. And finally a human being answered the phone, and then they said, oh, okay, we'll send you the email right now. And I got the email and I'm negative, I'm fine. But until that, I got the negatives thing and now I'm really sure that I'm going to get on the plane and go. Not being sure about my plans makes me very uneasy. And so I got very easy after that. And I talked to my aunt, who I hadn't talked to in a long time, and I'd heard through the grapevine that she was unhappy with me because I'm not being a good son for my mother. And so we had a fairly good conversation, and we'll probably need to have more conversations in the future. But so we had that happen this evening as well. So these are the things of my day today. Clearing stuff out. A lot of moving on and because I needed to move on, I had to take control of some aspects of it. Like I had to take control of getting the results where I had hoped they would just appear automatically. With my conversation with my aunt, I tried to be the Knight of Cups, I think. With my mother today, I tried to be the Knight of Cups most of the time. With the other people helping my mother, I tried to be the open, the emotionally available and connected and loving one, the actively loving one. I hoped I was able to do that. That was my intent, and that's where I was aiming my heart. In addition to aiming my heart at being able to sort through my past and my mother's past and all of the things that have accumulated because of that past. Things like the material things, the items, the knickknacks, the documents, the papers, the photos, the books, the decorations, the drawings, everything. So that has been my day. What do you think? Does that make sense to you? Does that seem like a page of wands in the Tarot of the Holy Light deck to you? It kind of does to me. I'd like to hear what you think. So friends, I'm going to stop here because I still have to get ready to leave tomorrow and I want to wash up before I go to bed and still things to do. So I'm going to end up here and I want to upload this. So if you're still here, hit the thumbs up bell, the thumbs up buttons. You know why. You do that, YouTube knows other people might want to see this. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit the alarm bell if you haven't already done so that you get notifications of when I upload videos. I'm still doing one a day if I can until I get back into my real work life. And also, comment below. I would really love to hear from you. If you're interested in a reading from me, there's an email address in the description box below. Shoot me an email. We'll figure out a way to get you a private reading from me in whatever system you're interested in. Yes, that's it. So friends, now, as always, I wish, oh no, that's not it. I wanted to show you something. I'm so excited about this. You wouldn't know because I forgot about it, but I'm so excited about this. When I was going through my stuff, I stumbled on 3 things. I'm only going to show you 2. One thing I'm not going to show you is some cards that were, I think, my grandmother's, and I think she might have read with them. She read with playing cards way back before I was born. And I found some cards that might be hers. They're not the ones that my mother remembers, because my mother remembers a set of cards that my grandmother had written on, and these are not they. But the box looks like they might have been from the 30s or maybe the early 40s. I'm not so sure. Anyways, that could be an interesting and important find. But for me, the interesting and important things are these 2 things. Let me show you. One is, which one should I show you first? Let me show you this one first. This is a yellow, okay, so it's a yellow box, and it's kind of banged up, right? But this is the yellow box I think I bought in like the late 70s, like 78, maybe. And yes, the box is dinged up in the front and in the back. But let me show you what's inside. I've been looking for this deck. I've been hoping to find this deck. But there's something else I had forgotten about this deck. Here's the little white book. Let me show you. Yeah, there are no codes on this. There are no barcodes, no the QR codes. None of that's on here. Actually, I don't think there. Yeah. Oh, there is a small copyright. There is a copyright right on the card. I think. Yes. I think there's a copyright. But now here's the inside of the little white book. If that means anything to you, you can pause this if you like. That's what that looks like. But look at this. I'd forgotten about this. Can you see? This has not been opened. This has not been opened. So, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I've got other plaid back decks. I'm not sure I need to open this deck to work with it. So, I'm not sure. I'm going to take it home with me to Korea, definitely. But I'm going to ponder what to do with this deck. If I'm going to just hold on to it. I mean, the box is dinged up, so it's not like it's a pristine thing. And I also have other Rider-Waite-Smith decks, but this is interesting. This is a very exciting thing to find, because I had wanted, mostly because I really wanted to find out where this deck was. I knew I had it. The next thing, something I completely forgot I had. I don't have the box, which is too bad. But I had the silk scarf I used to wrap things up in. Blue silk scarf. I've got my Soleone wrapped up in purple. This one is in blue. I don't have a wooden box for it, but I did have it wrapped up in blue, and I counted. I have all 78 cards, and they're in good condition. And what is it? No, it's not a blushing fool, but it is the can you see? It's the Albano weight. It's the white one with the gold things and the beautiful, beautiful colors on the inside. Yeah, we got the greens for the pentacles. Yeah, the Ace of Pentacles. Look at that green, right? We've got let's see. Here's some more green pentacles. Huh? This is just a gorgeous coloration of the deck, and so I mean, look at the purples and the blues on that Lover's card. This is just a lovely deck. If you don't have this deck or you don't know this deck, it's just a fabulous deck. Now, this is not a pristine deck. The box is gone. And I have another Albano weight that paid a little pretty penny for. not a huge amount of money, but more than $30 or $40 for on eBay. But this one, and when I got it, I was thinking, is this real? Is this authentic? This I know is authentic. This I know is real. So I'm excited about that. I'm really, really excited about that. So I got this. So things that I found. Yay! So friends, this is it. Let me know what you think. And as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.